Hey, we're back. This is Inside Tennessee. Now we want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the Knoxville city elections, which are going on. We just wrapped up early voting. Election day, as you know, is Tuesday. So we've got 6 people vying to be our mayor, and we'll probably have 2 after Tuesday. What have your impressions been about early voting? I think maybe they thought we'd have a little stronger turnout than we have so far.
It is low. Susan and I, we were looking at this during the break, and I think with the voting day totals, we'll be lucky to get to 16 or 18,000 total votes within the city. That is really a low turnout. There's not been a lot of excitement generally. It's not like a presidential election.
I thought it would be more exciting.
I think we all thought it would be a little better. I think what people are getting fatigued already by. I mean, we've had 2 or 3 Democratic debates.
Yeah.
We have Trump all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I think people are already getting politically fatigued, and this has just been a bit of a sideshow.
We're not even getting started.
No, and I think the mayor's race. What's going to be interesting is, assuming that Eddie Manis is one of the 2, what I would tell people to look for is add up the votes between India Kincannon and Marshall Stair, because whoever is second is likely to pick up most of the others' votes, and that's where the race is going to be in November, and we'll get a turnout, and that's going to make it very interesting.
Yeah, Susan, what do you think?
Right. I think that's right, too. We've talked about it among ourselves for several weeks, and is it going to be India or Marshall?
Right, as the number 2 person.
That is the number 2,
Right.
and Don's right.
Hey,
they appeal to a lot of the same
It could be India and
demographics.
Marshall in the general, and Eddie could be left out.
That would be interesting.
It would be. I don't think because of the political dynamic that happens, but it could. This is one of those races that's very difficult to call because there are 3 credible contenders out of the 6. The other 3 are very interesting, but they just don't have the political chops yet.
Yeah, I've been watching the ads, the television ads, and Marshall has spent a lot of money on ads. I feel like he's on like every 10 minutes or so in prime time and in the mornings as well. So I think Marshall has certainly put all of his resources into trying to get into the 2.
Right.
Eddie has had television. Indy, I just noticed hers this week.
She's been out there for a while, and
she's been out knocking
her
on
commercial.
doors.
Well, her TV commercials with her husband, Ben, who is a law professor at UT, and they're very credible and very good as well. This is a difficult race for Susan and I have been watching local politics for a long time, and every week we come in here and go, all right, we think it's going to be this 2 this week, and so these 2 this week, and I don't know, but I think if whoever doesn't make it out of the Marshall India equation, add those votes up, and you're going to get a little preview of what the general might look like if Eddie gets in.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of mailers, and I would imagine people watching us at home have as well, and that's a good chance for us to segue. We actually have some figures that we want to show with you that show some of the dollar figures, and there they are on the screen. So we've got several graphics that we'll show you. That's what's been spent so far. Check it out. That is a lot of money. Marshall was early on in the lead. Eddie has picked it up, but that's a lot of money right there. That's more than $700,000.
Yeah.
My math is never very good. What's the next graphic show? That's India and Fletcher. And India also, I was watching India closely early on, not spending a whole lot, relatively speaking, has definitely picked it up in the last month, 6 weeks. And then one more screen, and I think that's our other candidates. We have either incomplete or unreported information. I think even Calvin maybe hadn't spent very much at all. At one point, I think I saw something like 0. But all told, more than $800,000 for the primary.
Right. Well, the race is really, the primary is important because there are 3 candidates vying for 2 spots. And again, no disrespect to the bottom half of the tier, so to speak, but it's got to be a race here, and you're going to have to get to the general.
No chance that one will knock everybody else out?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't see that coming. Don was talking about in the break, talking about one of the polls that was run by a blog group here in town, and Eddie was very much ahead in that. But that doesn't surprise. I mean, I'm one of the
small sample
power
business
group, I'm sure
community,
you
right?
are. It's
And
a lot
it
of business.
doesn't distinguish between city and county,
Right.
and so
That's right.
I'm in that group, and I live in the county.
Yeah, and I'm
So-
in the county, and
right.
I'm
so
in
our
the group.
votes don't count because we don't get to vote in the city.
But Marshall had raised less money than Eddie in this quarter. So I think even though overall Marshall's raised the most, Eddie raised more this quarter, which
Yeah.
means I think he really has picked up some momentum in this last few weeks. But clearly, I think we could all say the business community as a whole, and that's a very broad category, has been supportive of Eddie Manis. When you look at who's contributed to him, it's basically been the chamber group, the business community. Marshall has gotten a lot of neighborhoods, as has India. And Don's right about this. Those two, whoever emerges from those two in the top two, very well could pick up all the votes of the other one.
We're lucky to have some good candidates, but I sure wouldn't put any money on who the two finishers are going to be.
No.
We've got another break that we're going to take, but don't go away. We've got one more block coming.